Hello and welcome to another episode of On the Horizons. I am Laura Meyer and I am here today at Amazon Port in beautiful Cannes. And I have a wonderful guest here today. I have followed her on LinkedIn for many months now. So a bit of a fangirling here today. So welcome Kim Chappell, the Chief Brand Officer at Bobbie Formula.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me at the Amazon Port. It's so fancy out here.
It is my pleasure. And one of the reasons I'm fangirling today is because I myself am a Bobbie mom. So I have two young girls. And as a working mother, having formula was so key. You, of all people, know the struggles of traveling as a working mom. And so I'd really just love to understand how you balance being a mom, being a rock star career woman, and how you find the balance, if the balance even exists.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for choosing Bobbie and for trusting us to nourish your babies. We know it's a big decision, and I love when I get to meet fabulous women who are crushing it in life, and then they bury the lead that they're also a Bobbie mom. So thank you so much, and we're so proud to support you. Balance is BS. I don't think that women or working moms or parents in general should try to find it because you're going to be constantly chasing something that doesn't exist. I just feel like there's just ebbs and flows. And it's like you get to these peaks and valleys of insanity and like the house is on fire and, you know, your kid gets sick and something blows up at work and it's Easter and you need 50 Easter eggs with gluten-free and peanut-free and all the things in the eggs. So you just have to ride those waves and then take the calm when you can. Because then you have the week where things are operating normally. The kids are all healthy and well. The schedule is intact. The nanny doesn't call in sick. And it's just like you get into those grooves, but it's a joke to think that that's what it's going to be like week after week after week. Because I have 3 kids, 2, 4, 6, and their lives are getting more insane. My life is getting more insane. And you have to figure out how to balance just the day to day and ride those waves. And when your life is in chaos, I'm just like, we're just gonna have to ride this one out instead of feeling like you're letting yourself down that you didn't achieve balance. Like you will constantly feel like you're failing if that's what you're chasing, in my opinion. So embrace the chaos. Whether that's at work, that's at home, when you feel like, wow, this is a day, of course you're going to have those days. Just know that they're not going to be every day.
And you mentioned having a nanny. So I think it's really important for women to be transparent of like, it takes a village.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you have to pay for that village.
What
is your support line?
I am so glad you asked this question because there is a very toxic narrative that I see all the time where people are not being honest about what's happening behind the scenes that allow them to go be great at their jobs and achieve their career dreams and rise in the corporate ladder. And I am just such a fan of transparency. Do you remember the old the programming from Refinery 29 called Money Diaries?
Yes.
And it was so shocking because for the first time women were sharing how much money they were making and where they were spending that money. And it was like, oh, like I had no idea we weren't talking about this. And I feel like the next stage of that is happening where as career women, we need to talk about what's happening behind the scenes with our childcare, with how we are able to come to work and do this. And to pretend like you don't have help is actually a very toxic narrative, again, for the women who are in the throes of it, who are trying to get pregnant, who are having babies and wondering, how am I going to do this? Yeah. You need help. It's okay to need help. It's okay. And I actually made a post on LinkedIn a few weeks ago that went viral, and
I think I saw it.
And I was very honest about what it is costing me as a mom of 3 kids to get through the summer, to be able to go to my 9-to-5 job where I work from home or be able to do work trips like this. And I was honest about the cost of that. It was $10,000 to $12,000 that it's costing me to send my kids to camp, to be able to afford my nanny for my 2-year-old, to have them, busy essentially and not driving me nuts inside the house while I'm also working from home. I got hundreds and hundreds of comments on that post. I would say 90% of them were other moms like us who were like, thank you for saying something. Thank you for sharing this. Like, I'm dealing with this too. Why are we in this situation? This is so awful. Like, summer is the hardest because the infrastructure that you've set up disappears for the rest of the year. And it's like the mental load of figuring out, where should they be? Where should they go? How do I get coverage? And you want them to also like have a fun summer. You know, you feel that pressure as a mom of like, well, all this stuff on Instagram is like, give them a 90s summer, let them ride their bikes on the street. And I'm like, I can't do that. You know, that's not real. And I don't like those false expectations for mothers. And I will say the other 10%, of course, there's always the other 10%, we're like really savage. And this is the problem of when you start to share your truth. And if we start to talk about this stuff more, I think it will shut up the haters. But people said I was incredibly selfish was the word that was used. Or, you know, I got dragged. It got moved from there to Instagram. And they dragged me and said I should have never had kids. Why did she even have kids if she doesn't want to look after them? She should never do this. How incredibly selfish. Somebody said the best form of the most affordable form of childcare is staying at home and being with your kids. That's free. Maybe you should stop trying to do it all and be a boss babe.
I have chills because, first of all, it takes so much to put yourself out there like that because people are always going to judge.
Yeah.
And I think it's about just finding what's best for you. And as a female leader and I have 2 daughters, I feel it's so important to show them that I have my identity as a wife, as a mother, but also as a friend and a career woman.
Yeah.
And I just feel it's so important to have a dynamic life.
Yes.
And to teach your children to be well-rounded.
I agree. And it's so crazy. The double standard is so insane to me.
Yeah.
That I get called selfish for finding childcare during a weekday from 9 to 5. When has anyone ever asked a man, how are you going to make it through the summer? What's your childcare situation? Oh, you're spending $10,000 on summer camps for 13 weeks for 3 kids? Oof, wow, you're really selfish for going to work this summer.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? And then for people to say, the best form of childcare is free is to be home with your kids. I'm like, well, guess what's not free? My car, my mortgage, putting food on the table, providing for my family. I'm the breadwinner in our family. I have to go to work, and I'm fucking proud of that. Yes. Like, I've worked so hard to get to this point in my career, and I am proud of the fact that I have a support system, that I can go and do this job that is not just a job for me. It's a passion. And I'm so proud that we go to work and we're able to feed babies like yours. And, you know, there's this old saying of like, I remember it was in a movie or something where they're like, it's just soda. You're not saving the world. You're not saving lives. And I actually feel like at Bobbie, I'm like, sometimes we are.
You are.
We are, because that baby needs a food, that mom needs support, that family needs our product to literally keep their baby alive.
I want to transition this a little bit, but I feel like we could go down an absolute rabbit hole here because I also feel like the difficulties of breastfeeding is not talked about. Like, I was completely surprised when I had my first daughter of how much work and stress is correlated with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're getting to a tipping point where people are saying it's hard and we're acknowledging that conversation. And then there is the ability to make a choice in that difficulty. You can go and get the lactation support that you want to try and continue your breastfeeding journey. And there are a lot of wonderful IBCLCs out there that are supportive of parents. And there's some who will want you to breastfeed at all costs, no matter if it's at the expense of your mental health. Yeah. And then I think there's also at Bobbie, what we do is empower whatever you want to do is what's best for you. Mm-hmm. And you are empowered to make the choice that is right for you without feeling any shame or any judgment and knowing that your baby is fed. Yeah. Full stop.
So let's talk about this amazing career you've built and being the chief digital officer of such a disruptive brand.
Yeah.
So talk to me about some of your favorite viral moments that Bobbie has been a part of. There have been many.
I know. I'm trying to think. We put the first combo feeding billboard in New York City and LA with Ashley Graham, a supermodel who had one baby, one of her twins, breastfeeding on a boob, and one of her twins bottle feeding with Bobbie. And she had her boobs out on a billboard in Soho during Fashion Week. And that was very cool because I feel like in that moment we were trying so hard to show people that it doesn't have to be this polarizing either or conversation. For someone like Ashley Graham, she was able to choose both for her babies as someone who previously exclusively breastfed and understood that that would work for that baby and for these babies it's going to be something different. So for us, that was a moment of what we like to say is evolving the conversation. Let's get out of this feeding wars. Let's get out of it's either breast milk or formula. 70% of people are doing both. We know that from our data. And of those 70%, I think 80% said that combo feeding actually extended their breastfeeding journey. And that's a conversation that we're just not having with new moms on optionality and what does that look like and what are other people doing. So that got picked up by the Today Show, which was really cool. So Ashley got on the Today Show, talk about her billboard. We got a ton of press on that. And I think it resonated so much with moms who were like, oh, I can combo feed? Wait, what does that look like? How do I do it? And it led to a whole education that we did around it with IBCLCs and people within our medical community doing workshops and seminars with these new moms. And then what was the other piece about it? We turned it into a commercial. And it was just the flywheel that happened just from us saying, oh, wait, she's combo feeding. Wait, so many people are doing that. Wait, we can actually have this conversation in a new and interesting way. And then we took that to Target and we had the first ever combo feeding end cap where we were able to put Bobbie with LV breast pumps and Dr. Brown's bottles and show that all three of these products can work cohesively to actually support a mother's feeding journey. Whereas how it was set up in Target before is there was the formula aisle, the walk of shame, and there was the breastfeeding parts aisle over here. And what does it look like when we say combo feeding? We had Elaine Welteroth, who's on our motherboard, with one of her pumps on, bottle feeding her baby in that photo. And it may seem so minor to those that are not in this space. They're like, well, yeah, I mean, how is that groundbreaking? But it was. And we continue to have that conversation, and we're really proud to be leading it.
Amazing. And I feel like LV has also had a few viral moments of their own.
Yeah, they're a great company. I mean, anytime you get a bold female-led company, it's exciting and
fun
always
things
fun
happen.
To work with. Yes, exactly.
And so let's also talk about the acquisition that Bobbie made last year.
So we acquired a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility in the heartland of America in Heath, Ohio. It's the most recently built infant formula manufacturing facility in the entire country. And we have been so heads down in the last year getting that facility ready, making CapEx investments, making people investments, getting FDA regulated product made. And it's been, one of those step level changes going from basement startup to D2C company to omnichannel company to now we are the third largest full stack manufacturing company in the United States. And those step level changes in growth can be challenging and they come with headwinds that you didn't expect. So for example, right now, I'm not sure when this will air, but right now in June, our online store is closed to new customers. We are out of stock at Target. It does not feel good to be in that situation, but we have such high demand that we have not been able to effectively meet. Next month, all of that changes for our company. And we will finally be able to have this resilient supply chain of manufacturing, both the one that we own in Ohio and our co-manufacturer with Perigo, who's been doing a fantastic job. And together, I feel like we'll finally be able to be the reliable company that we have wanted to be for so long, where it's just been out of our control. And now we're calling it Project Destiny in-house, because finally we will be able to own our own destiny moving forward. And the team, I have to say, has been incredible incredible behind the scenes. I'm so excited to share some of the work that's happened to get that facility ready, the investments we have made in quality, safety, certifications to ensure that this is a premium, high-quality infant formula that you can trust for your baby. We feel like that is an opportunity in this industry to be able to help people understand what's happening behind the scenes in the manufacturing of this facility, especially after the formula shortage of 2022.
Which I think is in the back of every mother's mind.
Yes. I mean, if you didn't live through it, like maybe you don't know how scary that was, but this was not about just finding the formula of your choice. You know, it's unfortunate that Bobbie's out of stock right now. We wish we could serve everybody, but the shelves have other options if you need it. In 2022, the shelves were empty. There was no other option for anybody that was looking for a way to feed their babies. So for us, this is not just okay, let's just go grow the business. This is a solution to part of that problem, which is manufacturing and supply chain resiliency, so that we, if that happens to us or if it happens to another facility again, we're gonna be okay and we're not gonna just go dark and not be able to fill shelves at all.
Yeah, you wanna build the consistency. So in that acquisition, you also acquired Babies Only.
Yes.
And that was your entry point into the Amazon ecosystem.
Oh boy.
And I'm curious, as a chief brand officer, how you think of Amazon as a channel, because you know, there's always that debate, right?
Yeah.
Especially for D2C native brands. Do we go on Amazon? Are we ready for Amazon?
Right.
How do we leverage the power while keeping this brand equity that we've built?
We don't want to go on Amazon with the Bobbie product until we know we have the supply to meet that demand. And I think that there is a shift happening in general, whether it's Babies Only or Bobbie, that people want to shop where they want to shop. And if you try to pigeonhole them into a certain point of sale, then you're missing the mark. Because there are just certain people that they're already on Amazon, they're getting whatever they're getting, they're used to Prime, they're natively using that app every single day to supply their household or to buy stuff for their home or their kids or whatever they need. So if you try to get that person to then go over to a direct-to-consumer site and, oh, you have to be a monthly subscriber and like, we're gonna get you here, like that's better for our revenue, you are not actually meeting customers where they're at and you've missed the mark. So for Babies Only, we know that the customer for that product wants an affordable product and they want it fast. They're not really a D2C subscriber because they don't want to pay upfront for things. We have a really strong retail program for that product, but the Amazon shopper, they want it primed and they want it to show up on their door. They don't care about cute packaging. They don't want your branded inserts. They just want the formula to their door fast. And so giving optionality in how you show up across different touch points and leaning into the strengths of those channels like Amazon and knowing that our fulfillment can't do 2-day shipping at an affordable cost. I think it's like $100 and something for us to do that. Like we can't provide that at the company size we are. Amazon can, so let them take on the burden of some of those things that don't allow you to offer the optimal customer experience when it comes to things like shipping.
Yes, and the exciting update.
Yes.
Bobbie, did you just launch yesterday?
Let's go. We just launched yesterday with our first SKU on Amazon. It is one of our Bobbie Boosties, which is our organic probiotic drops that help with fussy, colicky babies. You can put it into your bottle. And this is a single SKU. It's a tiny little dropper. And we're not doing any advertising. We're not doing any paid search for it because we just want to put it out there and we just want to kind of like see what happens. We're like, is our customer on Amazon? Will they purchase this product at like what pace are we having to fulfill Amazon orders? We just do not want to bite off more than we can chew. And we don't want people to have a bad experience. It already feels so shitty to not be able to support all the parents that want to be on Bobbie right now. We don't want to create, again, a bad experience on Amazon. So this is our sort of like toe in the water. And it's been a really good learning experience, I think, for our whole team on What does the back end of Amazon look like? How do we uphold sort of our brand look, feel, values? How does that come through on a place like Amazon where you don't get the same quality control? Mm-hmm. And I have to give a shout out to our creative director, Blair Fander, who's here with me today. She has built out a beautiful, beautiful page that almost looks and feels like our website. And we want people to have that high touch experience even on different channels like Amazon.
Absolutely. And I feel like Amazon's done a great job, especially in the last few years, really rolling out new tools so that brand story can be built.
Yes.
You know, it's funny because I think back to when I started my agency, having 6 images on your PDP was considered best in class.
Yeah.
And now it's much more competitive because Amazon's rolled out these new capabilities. You can really customize the storytelling. And I think Amazon's in an interesting evolution in that it was always so transactional of I just need this, let's check out, go. And I think more brand discovery and brand storytelling is happening, especially with Prime Video ads coming to the market and the immense amount of targeting and shopping data that Amazon has.
I agree with you, and it's almost like its such like its own little engine now on Amazon that it's like if you're gonna go there, you need to be ready to resource it internally, and that's I think what's also scared us a little bit. We're like, what if this takes off and like we don't have enough supply, but we also like need to keep the engine going. I mean, you think about just like Amazon's so turnkey. You put your product on there, you can do search. You can do ads. You can show up on Amazon Prime TV with your streaming ads that go straight to the product. You get the influencers with their Amazon storefronts, which they love to do. And it's like you have to almost have a whole subset of your entire marketing org that's focused on Amazon, or hire agencies like yours to help. But it is really incredible to see the growth and how much, if you embrace it, I think that there's a world where they can really help you reach scale.
Yeah. Well, Kim, this was so inspiring.
Oh my gosh, are we already done?
I know. I could talk with you for hours. And I really appreciate you waking up bright and early.
Thank you. Yes.
I know Can's a big party.
It is.
And hopefully you find some fun things to do this afternoon and evening. Because you have an early morning flight to get back to your kids.
I've got to get back to my kids. The quick trip. Can't wait. I do miss them so much. So gonna get back as quickly as I can.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.